Warning, this show contains adult language, so viewer and listener discretion is advised. Welcome to another edition of Up and Ended. I'm your host, Adrian Babashoff, and if you're new here, welcome as well. And if you're wondering what the show is about, it's entirely dedicated to improving quality of life for both people and planet through liberation and independence, moving you from surviving to thriving and living life raw. Today's episode 203, and it's how to save for emergency funds. The background noise is my F-350 pickup truck. Hopefully the audio is not too bad for you guys, but this is my work commute, the only chance I get to do these shows. And that's how I do my life. That's how the alternative lifestyle design, how I've been able to save for emergency funds, is doing such things as this, is podcasting, broadcasting my show in my mobile studio, this 97 F-350 pickup truck. It's 96. This thing's a loud beast. But I could spend some money and go build myself a little shed in my tiny house living that I do. Try to build myself a little soundproof studio. But you know what? There's a lot of other things I could be doing. And the message is the message. As long as it's out there, you can hear it. People can understand what I'm saying. I feel that that's far more significant than the high quality video and audio sounding things there. You know, we can focus on a lot more things. I've got a life to live as well, and I want to maintain my emergency funds, and I want to be able to invest into assets and things like that. So I'm stacking functions, I'm doing my work commute, and I'm also sharing my opinions, but these are all my opinions on topics like today, on how to save for emergency funds. So I'm going to start with the very first one, which is like me. I'm just hitting all these fucking potholes, right? Pay all these taxes to Sunnyside, California. That's where we're coming to. And I'm heading towards the shitty city of Los Angeles on a business trip. And guys, it's called eating shit. And I think it needs to be called eating shit. I've said this throughout the lifetime of the show here, because it means that a lot of people there's basically spoiled, is the way I see it. I don't want to pick on people. I talk mainly to myself sometimes like that, where, you know, for my health, for instance, I could be saving a hell of a lot more money by eating oatmeal with flaxseed in it, with some cold, the way I save money is I make my own breakfasts and stuff. And in my vehicle, I've got a solar panel up above. I have a camper on the back, and I have a refrigerator that I purchased for work. And what I should be doing is eating a lot more fiber and cheap stuff, such as oatmeal with honey and raisins, a little bit of cinnamon, some sea salt, and a little bit of some, say, coconut milk. I make it cold. I put it in a mason jar, and ratio is half of a mason jar of the oatmeal, because it expands, and then the other half is going to be, whatever milk you desire. I choose coconut milk instead of dairy milk because it doesn't spoil. I can make my breakfast basically for an entire week this way. So I'm saving money. By the way, off note is get yourself some steel rolled oats. For some reason, the steel rolls almost got like these bigger grains. It's more satisfying. But I'll sit there and I'll say, well, I want to go buy myself, a slice of pizza at Costco for $1.99, right? It's cheap. It's one meal. In fact, I could split it up into 2 meals, but it's very unhealthy. So I think in order for us to save emergency funds, it's called eating shit, because a lot of these things that we look at that we're spoiled, and that trying to control even myself, guys, like, oh my goodness, like sometimes I'm like that hot cheeseburger, food, but it's not just food, it's the comforts too of, like, say, if I built myself a nice studio to do these shows at, and I took off more time from work than I already do, and invest a bunch of money, that would be nice and be a lot more convenient. But you know what? Nice and convenient right now doesn't pay the fucking bills, and it sure as hell doesn't help to secure some emergency funds. So that's why I call it, if you are seriously, truly, honestly to yourself wanting to get out of the rat race and out of the hole you're in, it's going to take work, and it's going to take some sacrifices. And I think that it's nice to make a game out of it, is what I do. Like, how low can I actually go, right? And unfortunately, it's just called eating shit. It's not going to the bars all the time. You got to get creative. You got to do like I do. I spend like $300. I like having my beverages, and I'll go and I stocked up a bunch of different liqueurs and things like that, mixers. And what I do is I have, if I want somebody over, I'll invite them over to my house. We'll watch a movie on my TV, or we'll put some music on. We'll do some barbecue. We eat some of the best foods on the planet. I mean, like just to your heart's content, a big old rack of ribs with asparagus and fancy made mashed potatoes and Long Island iced teas and stuff, and we just hang out. Nobody needs to get a DUI, and we saved a shit ton of money, and I think had just equally as a good time. So it's changing your mindset and changing things around. I want to identify the big spending habits, how to save this for emergency funds. You know what, let's talk about why though. Some of you may not even, well, why should I? Well, obviously if you're asking why, you've never hit rock bottom and really ate the real shit to where you ain't got diapers. I've seen people, I've never got that, even that close, where I've seen people who had to borrow money from me for diapers for their babies. That's fucked up. That's not good. We need to change shit like that. And you never know what's going to happen. We've got 30 million people out of work right now. This is mid-April of 2021. Look at the systems, the way they're designed. Look at how many people are just after that stimulus check. That stimulus check to someone like me who's got emergency funds and plenty of money in the bank, I look at that and I'm like, that's a fucking joke. I'm grateful. They gave it to me for some fucking reason, so I paid enough fucking taxes. I'm like, well, hell yeah, I'll take that money and put it in the bank and save it. But it really doesn't help me out much, and really doesn't affect my life. Everything keeps going. I talked about when tax time comes, which is right now. My business is actually being affected by it to a degree. A lot of people don't have money to fix things. Me, if my truck needs new tires, I buy new fucking tires. It's not even a question. Tax season means shit to me. Basically, we want to get to a point where a lot of this monetary systems that we have, and they're crumbling around us. That's why you look at the statistics. If you need to know why, it's clearly evident. You need to take financial control and control of everything in your life. Otherwise, it gets controlled for you. And I guarantee you, you ain't gonna fucking like it. And then you got to start being told to do more, doing things that you don't want to do. Get up, and when we jump, we say how high, right? A lot of you guys who want freedom, you want to live an alternative lifestyle design, which I coined it as, you got to eat shit, and you got to know these things, and you got to start prepping for them. So we need to identify what are the big ones, and I've done this before on shows, so I'm not going to bore you guys. But the biggest ones to me is living expenses. That's going to be either your rent or your mortgage. The second one, depending on how far you live for that fucking nice house, if you're driving a Hummer or a big-ass truck like mine, you know, which you shouldn't be if you're just a passenger, gas could actually succeed food. And depending on what type of business you do, if you're in business for yourself, sometimes gas will be just as much as food. Not necessarily for me. I choose to work smarter. All my business is within a few minutes drive from where I live. The main, like 15, 20 miles is my biggest round trip. I am on a round trip to LA right now because I have a very big job opportunity that I've acquired that may help me to get even more emergency funds. Hell, I might even take the rest of the year off. I don't know if I get the jobs, but we'll see. Very excited. But yeah, you have either gas or food, especially if you want to eat healthy, right? I think that we're talking about how to get emergency funds. I think one thing that we're gonna find in here is an economist guy I met. Not economists. They they look at statistics and everything like that. I can't remember the name of it right now. One of the number one things he said for reasons for people filing bankruptcy is health issues, cancer, diabetes, or maybe just an accident. You broke your legs. Say you're maimed for life, and you can't really do, especially if you're in the construction, any kind of physical business, even working for somebody, you're not a mechanic and you broke your hand, in a car accident, and you're never able to spin a wrench the same. In fact, it hurts. You got arthritis, you're fucked, right? So, yeah, identifying the big ones and knowing what to do. But that's what we've got there. On that realm. Let's move on to budgeting techniques. What we have first, and I've already talked about these ones as well, is the very first we have is stashing cash in an envelope. I don't really like this one. I've said it before. Basically what you do is if you want to save money on, say, like food and stuff like that, what you'll do is you'll stuff in, say you want to budget as $500 a month. We'll try to make even numbers, right? So you're going to stick five $100 bills in there, and you're going to carry that with you every time you go grocery shopping. And when that money's out, you're out. One thing I recommend is that you guys stockpile a lot of stuff. You copy can. Copy canning means when something's on sale, you buy 2 of them instead of 1, right? You can go to places where I've seen, like out here in Sunnyside, California, you have Smart and Final, and they have these big, giant things of like refried beans for like $1.99, and they're organic. But what I didn't get to finish off with too, I know I'm bouncing around here, but what I wanted to talk about as far as food expense is also is eating healthy food so that you don't have to try to contribute. That's just as much as an emergency fund is preparing your body with healthy food and exercise, just as important as saving the money. But yeah, getting back to saving the money there, copy canning and buying a bunch of this stuff so that when that money goes out and you're done with the $500, it's like, look, it's beans and rice, right? It's none of this fancy shit. That's a way to train yourself. I don't like it because let's say you pull it out and you thought you stuck it in your purse or something, or you had that money in your wallet and you left your wallet someplace stole it, or you dropped the envelope on the ground, you're fucked, right? You're out $500 fucking dollars. That sucks. One that I'd never mentioned before was these green dot cards that they had. And I believe it's for free. You take your bank account, you could take cash, and I think you were able to get these at grocery stores and stuff. This is very helpful if you guys have this around you. You pay $500 and you get this thing, what's called a green dot card. So it's like a credit card. You just like filled it up with money. So if you lose that card, you can actually order a new one. You don't lose anything. That's what I would recommend people do if they're still around. The best method is using Excel spreadsheet, Excel numbers, or Apple's numbers. I'm an Apple's guy myself, so it's got everything synchronized into cells and categories, so you can actually add up everything from top to bottom, your groceries. So every time you buy something, you just add in a number, and believe me, guys, you can learn to do this in like 5 minutes. You whip out your phone, and you add in $30 for whatever you bought at the grocery store. As soon as you click the button, it adds everything up for you, and you automatically know what you've got. Very, very good for budgeting because it also lines everything. Say you had columns from top to bottom, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, from left to right. Well, all those numbers will add up on a cell that goes horizontal to all your numbers coming down. Automatically adds up. On the far right corner, you'll see everything: your gas, your mortgage, your fixed expenses and your variable expenses. We talked about all that already, but everything's there at the bottom, so you know. Why is this significant? Is because you need to know, are you able to even fucking save money for emergency funds? If you don't, you got to start changing shit around. God forbid you fucking start not eating healthy foods and start getting sick over money. But if you have to change where you live and stuff like that, that's basically, you need to know the numbers. And I think that's where we're coming in here, is know your numbers. Once you practice the budgeting, once you know how much you're making, you got those things balanced out, you'll know your numbers. Can you actually save, right? We talked about this in the past couple episodes too. You need to know if how much you can actually save, if you're even capable of saving for retirement, or first thing, which I would recommend, emergency finances, emergency cash flow. So if you're only making $2,000 a month and you guys are already pinned down, that means you got to make some life changes, man. And that's why I say you got to eat shit. That's why I decided to live in a RV trailer. I didn't go buy a tiny house because they cost like $60,000, $70,000, right? I went and bought a pre-made travel trailer that has everything that a tiny house has. Although it's not as extravagant and built as well, but in my opinion works just fine. So for instead of $60,000, for around $12,000, I got myself a pretty nice fucking rig. And guess what? Unlike a tiny house, I can pick this thing and move it with a lot less ease and damage to it than you would a tiny house. So I'm eating shit. And that's how I've been able to save. You got to get your overhead. You need to know your numbers first. Once you know those numbers, where can I start comfortably, and I would say healthfully, if that's even a word, start saving that money. Once you get your emergency funds up and you got those saved, then you can start getting yourself out of debt. You can start getting rid of all of that stuff. Eat shit for as long as you fucking have to so that you can go back into the world. And I want to tell you guys, this side of the fence, in my world, it's a whole new world. I'm getting Aladdin on you guys. My side of the fence is a lot less stressful than most people I know. It may suck and it may appear that, I'm poor as fuck. I get treated different. But guys, I'm in such a better state of, I would say, health and wealth than most people I know around me. I'm completely versatile. I'm completely mobile. As I said, I can pick up and fucking leave if I wanted to. I've got enough money to get me there. I've got a business that I run, very simple. My life is totally simplified. I'm able to work 8-9 months out of the year if I want. I try to make it only 8. And guys, life's pretty fucking good. And it's because of those emergency funds that we're able to save for. Because the emergency funds are possible because of eating shit and living in place. Is it completely desirable? I'm going to say hell no. It's definitely got its fucking problems. But guys, we ran out of time. We're going to have to go into part 2 of this. So thanks for being here. I could really use your guys' help. If you guys, I want to get this show off and running. I need subscribers. I need reviews. I need some attention here, and we're not getting it. So we're going to try to do these shows 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, for the rest of the year, for 2021. And if we don't get any momentum, then we're going to shut off the show because obviously we suck. I don't know. It's like talking to a wall, right? I'm talking into my camera right now. So guys, help me out. Let me know how I'm doing for you guys. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, subscribe. Give me that review. If there's something you guys want to tell me, if you guys something that you guys want to hear, or got any ideas, let me know how you're feeling about subject matter. upandinitshow@gmail.com. Email me direct. If you guys like it, it's Up and In It. You can find it on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and also anywhere where you'll find these podcasts. And as I always say, guys, go out there and have yourself a near-life experience. Don't lose your muchness. Carry on the fire. Human up. Live it, love it, own it, and bone it, my friends.